essentially, we went over the table. We're just going to go through some examples of how to utilize the curriculum and integrate it to your own situation. So obviously, we did an on-site training. These are some of the other resources we have for you. We can do an online training if you'd like. We could just via like GoToMeeting, and we can help walk you through any questions you might have. We have a bunch of YouTube tutorial videos that you can go on our YouTube page and check out. We've heard the feedback is they're very helpful. They'll sort of.
Were these actually created by you, or?
These were created by some Anatomage staff, yeah. And then we also have some manuals and how-to guides. The manuals, cut a little bit off. The manuals have, they look a little bit like this. Some people like to read and read through and oh well. So they sort of look like this. You got some written dialogue along with some images, so that's very helpful as well. And then we have this user interface quick guide. It's essentially you could like a double-sided piece of paper. It's got the icons and what they do, just in a short little description that you could potentially laminate and keep next to the table alpha. A little quick guide. All right, so connecting with other users. So we do have a forum that you can go online and check it out and see. There might be some. So you see where do you store your Anatomage table, just your general forum for just other customers might have some feedback, might ask a question. We also have a users group meeting coming up. It's usually at the end of July. This is Friday, Saturday, 28th and 29th. It's sort of a networking opportunity. We'll have some workshops set up where maybe other teachers will teach you and show you how they use it.
You are volunteering for that.
Yeah.
I looked at it.
Or there'll be engineers on site that can do some training as well, little workshops. It's definitely good to see how other people utilize it. So the curriculum. So we have the PDF, those PDFs that you just saw. They are customizable. You can always create your own. And then there's a physical book that I think it came with the.
Should have been shipped with
the should have been shipped with the box. Yeah.
In that white box we were talking about.
What is the name of that document?
It's just a printout, like a booklet, a physical booklet.
Like the user's guide.
Yeah, it's for the
curriculum specifically.
Yeah. The PDFs that Alex showed you just like 2 minutes ago, it's that basically printed out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you could. This is one example how you can use it. Describe some of the arteries, perhaps some of the patterns. Nothing really here. We can go on to the first. So here's another example. This was actually a quiz, and you can see here they have different sections labeled, whether you print this out and give it to them, whether it's like an online quiz and you have them submit it on Blackboard.
Are those pins?
Those are pins, yes. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 pins. They change colors as you pin each one in the sequence. And then again, you only have up to 10. Yeah. So you could use this as like a screenshot and again print it out, or you can do everything online on like a PDF and have them do and like submit it on Blackboard or something like that. Oops. So how can the table complement your teaching curriculum? So you could develop some student learning outcomes, and then you can once you have sort of a goal in mind of what you're trying to show, that's ideally how you want to approach this, because then you can sort of gauge the effectiveness of the table and what you want to teach. Go through and manipulate your cadaver, maybe manipulate the skull, and try and see if you can get the desired outcome. Definitely, you'd want to keep in mind, how can I tailor this lesson or this quiz, this test to utilizing the table. And then with that said, you also want to keep in mind, do I need to go to the full body cadaver, or can I go into the individual image library and pick a preset image that's there, that's saved, that you can go straight to? Hey, I already got, one of the examples we showed was just the head and the neck and the upper thorax, and you can go straight to that image and utilize that instead of having to go through the whole body, whole cadaver. So again, how can you convert it into table-ready material? So the best thing to do is your presets. You go through, you create your presets, you export them. Now you have a set of presets for each specific lesson. Now you have these presets you can just step through one by one, nice, quick, and easy. You can also distribute these to students if you have specific things you want them to look at. Hey guys, I've got this preset file, open it up. I want you to do X, Y, Z, or I want you, this is study material, stuff like that. So presets are very handy for that. And so again, so you can use these in like a lecture. You can use these presets in a lecture. You can project this onto if you have like a big monitor in a small classroom setting, or if you have a big projector, you can always project via HDMI, or we have wireless HDMI, or like a screen sharing utility on Windows. All right, I don't think this is connected to the internet, but this is, we'll send this video out with the Dropbox link, but this is Dr. Alan Denton from Stanford. This is a really good example. He used something preset in the image library for the arm and the shoulder, and he just walks through, and it's really interesting to see how he teaches with it. It's definitely a good example. He was one of the first table users, so he's effortless for him. But definitely check that video out.
Is that one hooked to a screen?
This one, yeah. So this is the table, and he's got the screen. So he'll manipulate it on the table, and then he'll point to specific areas on his screen. Yep. Or so then small group settings. This is probably the most useful because you want your students to get really hands-on with it. It gives them an extra added layer for their learning experience. So we find, I think, I forget the school, but they did a study of before the table and after the table, and then students scored better after they used the table to study. So definitely small group settings are a very good route to take. All right, so teaching example number 1. So the activity here is they want to explore, teachers asking the students to explore the knee and the elbow joints using the table. So this is sort of a, like beginners, hey, how do you utilize the software? Let's open up a full body scan, and then learn how to use all the touch interfaces, and then let's explore the knee and elbow joint a little more thoroughly. Oops, I think I skipped one. All right. So here there's again still exploring the knee and the elbow, but this time they're hey, let's make some cuts. Let's use the slider bars to see how we can change the cuts. Maybe flip the views. More of an exploratory example. Same thing here. So now let's zoom in to the elbow or the knee joint, and let's look at a specific structure. So for this example, you have a CT scan, and they're asked to label the coronary arteries and the branches, and then submit one image from the anterior view and one image from the posterior view, and they've got a worksheet to go along with it, as well as label some of the cardiac veins, and then submit a hard copy of that worksheet. So in this case, they've got an assignment. They got to submit a completed worksheet with some images. So open the image library. They have a specific image that they need to go to and look at, and then use in this case, use the freehand sculpt tool to remove some bones around the heart, and just say, let's just pull up this one image. Yes.
Did we get a copy of this presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yay.
Doesn't like me. So in this case, for the image library, they're asked to adjust the brightness to view the arterial branches, and then they want a specific location. they're asking them to describe a specific location. So in this case, the right coronary artery, the circumflex, the left marginal, and the right marginal. So now here they're asked to, using a yellow pen, to label the vessels, and then saving that image as well, and then rotate to the posterior view and label the vessels with a red pen, save that image, and then complete that worksheet with the images and submit it. So in this example, they're asked to open the, this is a general anatomy example, so they're asked to open gross anatomy and then remove all the structures except for the skeletal system. So in this case, you've got, so there's a series of activities in a 10 to 20 minute session. So they're asked questions regarding position and anatomy. So they use the pen tool to mark each structure, different positions, whether it's anterior to posterior, posterior to anterior, and then some rib anatomy as well as some sternum anatomy. They're asked to identify these. So same thing here. They're asked to take images now of these highlighted structures, and then they had them save them onto a Word document, and then insert these. This was actually before we had the draw tool in an older version. So they were asked to then, like in Paint, draw some arrows. Now you can draw an arrow here and take a screenshot. And they were asked to submit this as a Word doc onto Blackboard. So in this case, they're given some CT scans, and they were asked to interact with them in different ways. So you've got, in this case, the female full body scan, and they're asked to change the filter, in this case to the transparent soft tissue filter, and then they were asked to observe the air-filled cavities of the thorax. So here they're asked to open up the 4D heart, play the sequence on loop, and then observe and cut from the cranial side to the caudal side, and present the level of the valves. And then they were asked to do this using the grayscale filter. Another case here, so they're got CT scans, so they have to open the coronary angiogram from the image library, and then they were asked to observe and cut from the cranial side to the caudal side, and they had to use the grayscale filter. And then in this case, they had to take some measurements and measure the diameters of the ascending aorta, the pulmonary vein, and then the vena cava. Right here, so this is another one from the image library. They defined the vessels that lead to the circle of Willis. What area, they were asked a question, what areas of the brain does this supply? And then some follow-up questions, what could a patient suffer from if the following arteries were obstructed? So in this case, so they're asked to open up the curriculum folder on the desktop, and then open the head and neck PDF, and then just to preview these slides. So from there, they were supposed to open the view sequencer and drag and go through the curriculum for the head and neck. And then this is to review the skeletal system, so they're asked to go through and identify each area and then study those structures. They're utilizing this as a study tool. So that's it for the examples. So it's totally up to you guys how you want to handle it, but a lot of the institutions allow just open access to the table without supervision. There's a couple ways you could sort of manage this. You could create a guest Windows account that students could log in. If you have it connected to the network, they could log in as they would any PC. Or you can use a reservation system. I know the University of Michigan has a table in their library, and they just use their reservation system to reserve a time slot. Or you could just have some sort of protocol. As long as you guys save your presets and your annotations, you could potentially allow students to just have open access to it, and then you could always reset everything to default if you wanted to. Yeah.
Can they bring their own flash drives
Mhm.
Okay, is there like an antivirus protection on here?
So, because it's not connected to the internet, no. If you wanted to connect it to the internet, then we'd recommend installing like an antivirus on there, yeah. But right now there's nothing installed because it's not connected to the internet.
Okay.
Most places, this doesn't have Wi-Fi, so you'd have to hardwire it. Most places tend to just not have it connected to internet, or they get like a Wi-Fi dongle, but definitely install antivirus if you're going to connect it to the network. So I'll skip over this. This is a in vivo software. You actually, the other table that you have on campus should have come with this software. This platform does not, but in vivo you can sort of create 3D models, and then some people like to 3D print. You can save them as STL files and 3D print any models that you make. We can always for the other table that you have, we can always do training on that software whenever you would like.
Back just for a second.
Mhm.
So, in vivo?
In vivo.
And that is 3D, where we can go off a library? Or
Yeah, so you can load your own scans in vivo, or you can, and then from your scans you can create models based on specific structures that you already have on your scans. And then you can also create videos in there. Yeah, you can also, students can download the in vivo viewer, and if there's a set of scans that you want them to look at, they can actually look at them through the remote viewer software. It's not, I shouldn't call it remote, they download this in vivo viewer, and then they can read the CT and MRI files that you want them to look at. So that's another feature.
You can create 3D models?
Yeah, you can create 3D models. Based on, and then you can upload your own scans too and create a model of, if you want like a set of teeth
Yes.
from a scan that you already have, and yeah, you can do that.
And you said that's on the other table?
You have the software, yeah, it came with the
On the
other
other table.
It's probably not installed on the table.
Mhm.
You get a license with your other table. You get a license with it, and so if they've installed it, they probably installed it on a separate workstation computer.
Yeah, and so we can, like I said, we can schedule a training if you'd like more training on the software, and we could always do something like that. That's pretty much all. So how can we help? So we're always a resource if you ever need help integrating the table. We can also customize some of the built-in curriculum for whatever you might need. We can create some videos based on any data sets you want to send us. We can help create some presets and some quizzes as well. And then we can also give you some online training whenever you might need. Just ask. If you ever have a question, just
What
ask.
are your hours?
9 to 5.
California time?
California time or East Coast. I'll be on the East Coast, so
So 10 to 6,
so
basically. 10 to
essentially
6 for you.
10. Yeah.
For us.
Well, yeah.
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 Okay, because we're Central Standard, so
Yeah.
10 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 to yeah.
For us.
10
can-
to
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So 9 to 5 Eastern
Or
Standard.
sorry, no,
is
8 to 7.
8 to 7.
8
on
to
East-
7 Central
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, we're open till 5 and
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yeah.
technically.
Okay.
Our phones.
And then, so we've got some video examples. You can also see this on the YouTube page or the, we can send that out in the Dropbox links.
And then when you do an online session, what platform do you use to do that?
It can vary. GoToMeeting is usually the go-to. And that's pretty much so. Some of the other, you can always visit our website. We've got more information regarding some of our other products. This is the Alpha. We have the normal table, and then we also have this this navigator. So just want to give a quick thank you to some of the other institutions and the people that have given us some of this content that you've seen, whether it's pre-created presets or the quizzes or some of the curriculum. It's just a thank you for them.